Hello? Am I here? Did I make it? Oh my goodness. Good evening. That's a color by number. Where are the numbers? They're in the book. All right. I made it. I had some issues after dinner. We reheated my sweet potato quinoa chili that I made back when Aaron's parents were visiting last year. It was in the freezer the whole time. And it's fine. It was good and everything. It just gave me some terrible like acid reflux, but I think I've dealt with it. Took some manuka honey, um, had a little piece of bread with tiny bit of butter, and took an enzyme pill. So working through it. We're working through it. I wanted to start tonight with reading another chapter of this book because I don't want to lose sight, get too far from what we read last time. And it's a short chapter, I think. It's pretty quick. It's only that many pages. So I'm going to read that real quick, and then we'll get to the coloring. And then after I'm done coloring, I have to go play Badge Fairy before I go to bed. So if you guys missed it last time, we read like the opening section and then the first chapter of this book called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And it was pretty powerful. I don't know about you guys, but I felt like it was pretty powerful. So I'm eager to see what he has to say into this next chapter, because the last part was really just like an intro to everything. All right, here we go. Chapter 2, the first agreement. Be impeccable with your word. The first agreement is the most important one, and also the most difficult one to honor. It is so important that with just this first agreement, you will be able to transcend to the level of existence I call heaven on earth. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. It sounds very simple, but it is very, very powerful. Why your word? Your word is the power that you have to create. Your word is the gift that comes directly from God. The Gospel of John in the Bible, speaking of the creation of the universe, says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word is God." Through the Word, you express your creative power. It is through the Word that you manifest everything. Regardless of what language you speak, your intent manifests through the Word. What you dream, what you feel, and what you really are will all be manifested through the Word. The word is not just a sound or a written symbol. The word is a force. It is the power you have to express and communicate, to think, and thereby create the events in your life. You can speak. What other animal on the planet can speak? The word is the most powerful tool you have as a human. It is the tool of magic. But like a sword with two edges, your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. One edge is the misuse of the word, which creates a living hell. The other edge is the impeccability of the word, which will only create beauty, love, and heaven on earth. Depending upon how it is used, the word can set you free, or it can enslave you even more than you know. All the magic you possess is based on your word. Your word is pure magic, and misuse of your word is black magic. The word is so powerful that one word can change a life or destroy the lives of millions of people. Some years ago, one man in Germany, by the use of the word, manipulated a whole country of the most intelligent people. He led them into a world war with just the power of his word. He convinced others to commit the most atrocious acts of violence. He activated people's fear with the word, and like a big explosion, there was I don't want to say that because I don't want to get demonetized. There was lives ending and war all around the world. All over the world, humans destroyed other humans because they were afraid of each other. Hitler's word, based on fear generated beliefs and agreements, will be remembered for centuries. The human mind is like a fertile ground where seeds are continually being planted. The seeds are opinions, ideas, and concepts. You plant a seed, a thought, and it grows. The word is like a seed, and the human mind is so fertile. The only problem is that too often it is fertile for the seeds of fear. Every human mind is fertile, but only for those kinds of seeds is it prepared for. What is important is to see which kind of seeds our mind is fertile for and to prepare it to receive the seeds of love. Take the example of Hitler. He sent out all those seeds of fear, and they grew very strong and beautifully achieved massive destruction. Seeing the awesome power of the word, we must understand what power comes out of our mouths. One fear or doubt planted in our mind can create an endless drama of events. One word is like a spell, and humans use the word like black magicians, thoughtlessly putting spells on each other. Every human is a magician, and we can either put a spell on someone with our word or we can release someone from a spell. We cast spells all the time with our opinions. An example: I see a friend and give him an opinion that just popped into my mind. I say, I see that kind of color in your face and people who are going to get cancer. If he listens to the word and if he agrees, he will have cancer in less than 1 year. That is the power of the word. During our domestication, our parents and siblings gave their opinions about us without even thinking. We believed these opinions, and we lived in fear over these opinions, like not being good at swimming or sports or writing. Someone gives an opinion and says, "Look, this girl is ugly." The girl listens, believes she is ugly, and grows up with the idea that she is ugly. It doesn't matter how beautiful she is, as long as she has that agreement, she will believe that she is ugly. That is the spell she is under. By hooking our attention, the word can enter our mind and change a whole belief for better or for worse. Another example: you may believe you are stupid, and you may have believed this for as long as you can remember. This agreement can be tricky, causing you to do a lot of things just to ensure that you are stupid. You may do something and think to yourself, "I wish I were smart, but I must be stupid or I wouldn't have done that." The mind goes in hundreds of different directions, and we could spend days getting hooked by just that one belief in our own stupidity. Then one day, someone hooks your attention, and using the word lets you know that you are not stupid. You believe what the person says and make a new agreement. As a result, you no longer feel or act stupid. A whole spell is broken just by the power of the word. Conversely, if you believe you are stupid and someone hooks your attention and says, "Yes, you are really the most stupid person I've ever met," will be reinforced and become even stronger. Now, let us see what the word impeccability means. Impeccability means without sin. Impeccable comes from the Latin peccatus, which means sin. The im in impeccable means without. So impeccable means without sin. Religions talk about sin and sinners, but let's understand what it really means to sin. A sin is anything that you do which goes against yourself. Everything you feel or believe or say that goes against yourself is a sin. You go against yourself when you judge or blame yourself for anything. Being without sin is exactly the opposite. Being impeccable is not going against yourself. When you are impeccable, you take responsibility for your actions, but you do not judge or blame yourself. From this point of view, the whole concept of sin changes from something moral or religious to something common sense. Sin begins with rejection of yourself. Self-rejection is the biggest sin that you commit. In religious terms, self-rejection is a mortal sin, which leads to unaliving. Impeccability, on the other hand, leads to being impeccable with your word is not using the word against yourself. If I see you in the street and I call you stupid, it appears that I'm using the word against you. But really, I'm using my word against myself because you're going to hate me for this, and your hating me is not good for me. Therefore, if I get angry and with my word send all that emotional poison to you, I'm using the word against myself. If I love myself, I will express that love in my interactions with you. And then I am being impeccable with the word because that action will produce a like reaction. If I love you, then you will love me. If I insult you, you will insult me. If I have gratitude for you, you will have gratitude for me. If I'm selfish with you, you will be selfish with me. If I use the word to put a spell on you, you are going to put a spell on me. Being impeccable with your word is the correct use of your energy. It means to use your energy in the direction of truth and love for yourself. If you make an agreement with yourself to be impeccable with your word, just with that intention, the truth will manifest through you and clean all the emotional poison that exists within you. But making this agreement is difficult because we have learned to do precisely the opposite. We have learned to lie as a habit of our communication with others, and more importantly, with ourselves. We are not impeccable with the word. The power of the word is completely misused in hell. We use the word to curse, to blame, to find guilt, to destroy. Of course, we also use it in the right way, but not too often. Mostly we use the word to spread our personal poison, to express anger, jealousy, envy, and hate. The word is pure magic, the most powerful gift we have as humans, and we use it against ourselves. We plan revenge. We create chaos with the word. We use the word to create hate between different races, between different people, between families, between nations. We misuse the word so often, and this misuse is how we create and perpetuate the dream of hell. Misuse of the word is how we pull each other down and keep each other in a state of fear and doubt, because the word is the magic that humans possess, and misuse of the word is black magic. We are using black magic all the time without knowing that our word is magic at all. There was a woman, for example, who was intelligent and had a very good heart. She had a daughter whom she adored and loved very much. One night she came home from a very bad day at work, tired, full of emotional tension, and with a terrible headache. She wanted peace and quiet, but her daughter was singing and jumping happily. The daughter was unaware of how her mother was feeling. She was in her own world, in her own dream. She felt wonderful, and she was jumping and singing louder and louder, expressing her joy and her love. She was singing so loud that it made her mother's headache even worse. And at a certain moment, her mother lost control. Angrily, she looked at her beautiful little girl and said, "Shut up. You have an ugly voice. Can you just shut up?" Oof. Wow. The truth is that the mother's tolerance for any noise was non existent. It was not that the little girl's voice was ugly, but the daughter believed what her mother said. And in that moment, she made an agreement with herself. After that, she no longer sang because she believed her voice was ugly and would bother anyone who heard it. She became shy at school, and if she was asked to sing, she refused. Even speaking to others became difficult for her. Everything changed in the little girl because of this new agreement. She believed she must repress her emotions in order to be accepted and loved. Whenever we hear an opinion and believe it, we make an agreement and it becomes part of our belief system. This little girl grew up, and even though she had a beautiful voice, she never sang again. She developed a whole complex from one spell. This spell was cast upon her by the one who loved her the most, her own mother. Her mother didn't notice what she did with her word. She didn't notice that she had used black magic and put a spell on her daughter. She didn't know the power of her word and therefore isn't to blame. She did what her own mother, father, and others had done to her in many ways. They misused the word. How many times do we do this with our own children? We give them these types of opinions, and our children carry that black magic for years and years. People who love us do black magic on us, but they don't know that they do. That is why we must forgive them. They don't know what they do. Another example, you awake in the morning feeling very happy. You feel so wonderful. You stay 1 or 2 hours in front of the mirror making yourself beautiful. Well, one of your best friends says, "What has happened to you? You look so ugly. Look at the dress you're wearing. You look ridiculous." That's it. That's enough to put you all the way down in hell. Maybe this girlfriend just told you this to hurt you, and she did. She gave you an opinion with all the power of her word behind it. If you accept the opinion, it becomes an agreement now, and you put all your power into that opinion. That opinion becomes black magic. These types of spells are difficult to break. The only thing that can break a spell is to make a new agreement based on truth. The truth is, the most important part of being impeccable with your word. On one side of the sword are the lies, which create black magic, and on the other side of the sword is the truth, which has the power to break the spell of black magic. Only the truth will set us free. Looking at everyday human interactions, imagine how many times we cast spells on each other with our word. Over time, this interaction has become the worst form of black magic, and we call it gossip. Gossip is black magic at its very worst because it is pure poison. We learned how to gossip by agreement. When we were children, we heard the adults around us gossiping all the time, openly giving their opinions about other people. They even had opinions about people they didn't know. Emotional poison was transferred along with the opinions, and we learned this as the normal way to communicate. Gossiping has become the main form of communication in human society. It has become the way we feel close to each other because it makes us feel better to see someone else feel as badly as we do. There's an old expression that says, misery likes company, and people who are suffering in hell don't want to be all alone. Fear and suffering are an important part of the dream of the planet. They are how the dream of the planet keeps us down. Using the analogy of the human mind as a computer, gossip can be compared to a computer virus. Computer virus is a piece of computer language written in the same language all the other codes are written in, but with harmful intent. This code is inserted into the program of your computer when you least expect it, and most of the time without your awareness. After this code has been introduced, your computer doesn't work quite right, or it doesn't function at all because the codes get so messed up with so many conflicting messages that it stops producing good results. Human gossip works exactly the same way. For example, you are beginning a new class with a new teacher, and you've looked forward to it for a long time. On the first day of class, you run into someone who took the class before, who tells you, "Oh, that instructor was such a pompous jerk. He didn't know what he was talking about, and he was a pervert too, so watch out." You are immediately imprinted with the word and the emotional code the person had when saying this. But what you are not aware of is his or her motivation in telling you. The person could be angry for failing the class or simply making an assumption based on fears and prejudices. But because you have learned to ingest information like a child, some part of you believes the gossip and you go on to the class. As the teacher speaks, you feel the poison come up inside you, and you don't realize you see the teacher through the eyes of the person who gave you that gossip. Then you start talking to other people in the class about this, and they start to see the teacher in the same way, as a jerk and a pervert. You really hate the class, and soon you decide to drop out. You blame the teacher, but it's the gossip that is to blame. All of this mess can be caused by one little computer virus. One little piece of misinformation can break down communication between people, causing every person it touches to become infected and contagious to others. Imagine that every single time others gossip to you, they insert a computer virus into your mind, causing you to think a little less clearly every time. Then imagine that in an effort to clean up your own confusion and get some relief from the poison, you gossip and spread these viruses to someone else. Now imagine this pattern going on in a never-ending chain between all the humans on Earth. The result is a world full of humans who can only read information through circuits that are clogged with a poisonous, contagious virus. Once again, this poisonous virus is what the Toltecs called the mitote, the chaos of 1,000 different voices all trying to talk at once in the mind. Even worse are the black magicians or computer hackers who intentionally spread the virus. Think back to a time when you or someone you know was angry with someone else and desired revenge. In order to seek revenge, you said something to or about that person with the intention of spreading poison and making that person feel bad about him or herself. As children, we do this quite thoughtlessly, but as we grow older, we become much more calculated in our efforts to bring other people down. Then we lie to ourselves and say that person received a just punishment for their wrongdoing. When we see the world through a computer virus, it's easy to justify the cruelest behavior. What we don't see is that misuse of our word is putting us deeper into hell. For years, we've received the gossip and spells from the words of others, but also from the way we use our word with ourselves. We talk to ourselves constantly, and most of the time we say things like, "Oh, I look fat. I look ugly. I'm getting old. I'm losing my hair. I'm stupid. I never understand anything. I will never be good enough. And I'm never going to be perfect." Do you see how we use the word against ourselves? We must begin to understand what the word is and what the word does. If you understand the first agreement, be impeccable with your word, you begin to see all the changes that can happen in your life. Changes first in the way you deal with yourself, and later in the way you deal with other people, especially those you love the most. Consider how many times you have gossiped about the person you love the most to gain the support of others for your point of view. How many times have you hooked other people's attention and spread poison about your loved one in order to make your opinion right? Your opinion is nothing but your point of view. It is not necessarily true. Your opinion comes from your beliefs, your own ego, and your own dream. We create all this poison and spread it to others just so we can feel right about our own point of view. If we adopt the first agreement and become impeccable with our word, any emotional poison will eventually be cleaned from our mind and from our communication and our personal relationships, including with our pet dog or cat. Impeccability of the word will also give you immunity from anyone putting a negative spell on you. You will only receive a negative idea if your mind is a fertile ground for that idea. When you become impeccable with your word, your mind is no longer fertile for words that come from black magic. Instead, it is fertile for the words that come from love. You can measure the impeccability of your word by your level of self-love. How much you love yourself and how you feel about yourself are directly proportionate to the quality and integrity of your word. When you are impeccable with your word, you feel good. You feel happy and at peace. You can transcend the dream of hell just by making the agreement to be impeccable with your word. Right now, I am planting that seed in your mind. Whether or not the seed grows depends on how fertile your mind is for the seeds of love. It is up to you to make this agreement with yourself. I am impeccable with my word. Nurture this seed, and as it grows in your mind, it will generate more seeds of love to replace the seeds of fear. This first agreement will change the kind of seeds your mind is fertile for. Be impeccable with your word. This is the first agreement that you should make if you want to be free, if you want to be happy, if you want to transcend the level of existence that is hell. It is very powerful. Use the word in the correct way. Use the word to share your love. Use white magic, beginning with yourself. Tell yourself how wonderful you are, how great you are. Tell yourself how much you love yourself. Use the word to break all those teeny tiny agreements that make you suffer. It is possible. It is possible because I did it, and I am no better than you. No, we are exactly the same. We have the same kind of brain, the same kind of bodies. We are humans. If I was able to break those agreements and create new agreements, then you can do the same. If I can be impeccable with my word, why not you? Just this one agreement can change your whole life. Impeccability of the word can lead you to personal freedom, to huge success and abundance. It can take away all fear and transform it into joy and love. Just imagine what you can create with impeccability of the word. With the impeccability of the word, you can transcend the dream of fear and live a different life. You can live in heaven in the middle of thousands of people living in hell because you are immune to that hell. You can attain the kingdom of heaven with this one agreement. Be impeccable with your word. All right. Chapter 2, down. What do you guys think about that? Any thoughts about anything that he talked about? I don't know about you guys, but I have absolutely had the experience of having my beliefs and thoughts about myself altered at a very young age, and it very much still affects me today. And it's really hard to get past that. And I feel that I have forgiven, where it came from, but I guess I still I still believe it somehow. I still let it pollute my mind on a daily basis. So it's hard to figure out how to let that go. Yeah, be impeccable with your words. And he said, do it with yourself first. So it's kind of like, kindness, right? Be kind, don't say mean, cruel, hurtful things. Don't say damaging things. But it's not just about what you say to other people. It's about how you talk to yourself, about yourself. And I definitely don't have a good dialogue in my head. I can tell you that. In fact, I kind of joke sometimes, I guess it's not funny, about how I keep myself motivated by completely berating myself in my head. It's like the more it's like giving myself fuel to prove myself wrong about myself. But why on earth would I need to put myself through that torture just to achieve something, right? It's definitely good food for thought. And yes, I think the recognition of what you're doing, whether it's doing it to yourself or other people, I think that if you can recognize that you're doing it, like that's the first step, right? Because you can't fix something that you don't acknowledge. So first you have to kind of own up to the behavior. All right, let's color. Let's color. It's been such a long day. A long and crazy, exciting. What an exciting day, you guys. I can't believe we have almost 1,000 people in the community now, and my mind is blown. In one day, we went from, where were we at? Like 200 to just about 1,000. It's wild. Very exciting. Very, very exciting. So I have this book here. It's color by number around the world. I kind of felt like it was fitting because we have a huge community in there now. We're all getting to know each other. We're all from different places. You know, we have followers from literally all over the world. We have followers in there from England and from Italy and from Ireland and Australia and New Zealand. We've had people following us from all over the world for a long time now. And so it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to think that there are people thousands of miles away who somehow find us online and follow our story and have come to know us over the years. And now I get the brilliant opportunity of being able to get to know them back, being able to get to know all of you guys back. I'm super, super excited. All right. I don't remember the last time I did like a color by number type thing. It's been quite some time. Is it my laptop or is this not very bright tonight? Oh, there we go. That helps. Okay, so I am going to color Japan. I don't know what you guys are doing. What are you guys doing? Are you gonna work on something while I'm coloring? I wonder if I should take it. Maybe I should take it out. It is perforated. And I don't want it to bleed through to the next page. I guess I'll remove it. There you go. It's gonna be your little bit of asthma for the night. That's what my friend Angel calls it, and I think it's funny. So, stealing her lines. So much for perforate, and you can stay on there. There we go. Sounds like a zipper. Susie Q is coloring China. Cool. Darlene is sewing. Stacy's doing a puzzle on Facebook. Cheryl is watercoloring. Oh, Mary Ellen, thank you. That's cool. You guys are doing all kinds of different stuff. All right, well, here's the key. It's in the book here. Joyce, you coloring on your phone. Very cool. Let's see. What should I start with? This is I'm a little intimidated, I have to be honest with you, because some of these spaces, it's very detailed. Jen's about to turn into a pumpkin. Yes. I was joking. My moderator, Jennifer, she turns into a pumpkin. We said midnight, but it seems to be a little bit later these days. But I turn into a badge fairy at 3 a.m. So I've got a little bit of time with you guys, and then I'm going to have to go. All right. I think I'm going to start with the bird. Now, okay, this is... Here's the trick. I have to be able to see the tiny little numbers. I don't have Anna handy. to look here. Oh my gosh, wait a minute. Oh, why? 22, 11. Oh dear. I need a magnifying glass to color this. 22, 11. I can't. Kidding me. This is horrible. My eyes. All right. 22 is purple. Suzanne, you signed up for your first Spanish video chats this week. That's wonderful. That was on your vision board. Good for you. Good for you. Stacy, see, I told you I couldn't see the numbers. Yeah, they're tiny. They're like itty bitty tiny. How am I supposed to? Oh, we'll figure it out. We will figure it out. Yeah, I can take a picture and zoom in. That's what I was thinking, Debbie. I might have to do to get to see some of these. All right, 22. Let's go in here and do 22. Wait, no, I know it. Oh, wait. I know I saw 22. Oh, there's two birds. Oh my goodness. Okay, now it's just screwing with me. I'm like, wait a minute. I know I saw 22 and this says 21. There's two birds. Unreal. Okay. So 22. But even crazy numbers aside, these are some small spaces in some of these. This is not your childhood color by number book, that's for sure. It's going to require some fine motor skills. Fine motor skills and good eyesight. So did everyone who is here get signed up into the community today? Hillary putting together a marker shelf unit. Very cool. You're going to need that for your 500 markers. Stacy, I cracked up when you found out that I figured out how many. You know what, Stacy? I'm so glad you did tell me that though, because it wouldn't have been fair. And I am very much all about it being fair. I don't want anyone, to be bamboozled. So I'm glad you said something because it was easy enough to fix it. I just said, okay, after 10 p.m., that's it. And then, it's anybody's guess after that what could have happened. So I haven't gone through the responses yet. I'll probably do that after I get off the live here. I'm going to have to fill this guy's eyeball back in or I'm never going to find it again. It's about to be colored over. I have to say, already out the gate, not digging how thin the paper is. Look at that. See that? Not digging it. Jan, it sounds like things are really improving so much since you went. Yeah, well, Jan, I don't think I realized that until today, to be quite honest with you. It's improved for us in the sense that it didn't so much have to do with starting up our community space, but it was the fact that we haven't been on like twice a day, every day, for quite a few weeks now. And I have come to understand how much better that is for us. And not that anybody was complaining. No one was complaining about it. Everybody was fine. But, you know, you look back and realize how difficult it was. Is that orange? They're really having me do. I'm I'm not liking this, I have to say. I might switch to something else. This is not relaxing me. This is not. This might become one of the first things I have taken down off of my Amazon list and not recommended to you guys. It's sad because they're really beautiful pictures, right? There's a lot of great stuff in here, and it's really cool because they're from all over the world, but I'm just not. Maybe it's just tonight. I'm not finding this enjoyable right now. So I'm not going to force it. I'm going to look for something else. What about? It's funny because my thumbnail says coloring Japan, and this whole live is going to have pretty much nothing to do with that. Yeah, colored pencils might be better, but I agree, Jennifer. It's not just that. It's that the tiny spaces are definitely very stressful. Let me check out this one. These are butterflies, color by number. And this, see, already this looks better to me. It has less teeny tiny little spaces. And it could be just tonight. Maybe I'll try it again another day and it won't feel so daunting. Oh, I like these too. These ones are cute. Oh, okay. I'm gonna do this one. Yeah, this is a completely different book. I haven't popped. I don't think I've popped this one into the store yet. I don't think. I could be wrong. It's getting hard to keep track at this point because there's a lot in there. But this is color by number butterflies. So, all right, we'll give this one a go. Jan says, I love butterflies. It's great. I love them too. They're very pretty. They're very sweet creatures. Do you guys remember, were any of you around when Anna and I raised the butterflies and then released them? That was a very cool experience. Okay, now we have the challenge, am I saying my Michigan accent, challenge of matching the colors. This is not quite an orange. Gray? Is that gray? I guess it's up for a little bit of interpretation. Looks like red. Not sure. Oh no. Some guesswork here. Light blue. I think that's the lightest blue I have. And then there's like a brownish yellow-ish thing. Do those look good together? Seems a little strange. A little bit of a strange combination. All right, we'll see. I'm cool with 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll see how 1 and 7 come in later. I think I'm going to start with 5. Jan says it doesn't have to be the exact colors. That's right, Jan. You're right. You don't have to conform. You can take creative license, right? Make executive decisions to dare to be different. Color whichever you feel. Yeah. Yeah, I that's something that I have a hard time with, even as a child and even like well into my adult life. I am not a good rule breaker. Um, I've always been very like hyper afraid of breaking the rules. Never been in any kind of serious trouble. I I think I told you guys this another session, but I used to cry if my any of my teachers even reprimanded me, if they were even slightly scolding, like didn't have to be really yelling at me or coming down hard on me, if they even like took a stern word with me over anything, I would break down crying. So I'm not a rule breaker, and I tend to be very uh what's the word? I tend to be very can't think of the right word to use. Like it's very black and white for me. Sometimes too much so. It's hard for me to build in flexibility because I feel like it must be this way and that is the only way and that's the only thing that's right. And if I don't do it right, then I'm doing it wrong. Anti-Zen. Hillary says anti-Zen. No, sensitive isn't the word I was looking for. I'm not super sensitive, actually. Um, I can actually be more combative than sensitive, but I'm just like, yeah, I that's one of the things I love about Anna is her amazing imagination. She has a very flexible mind. Well, with certain things. There are moments where she has a lot of inflexibility too, but it usually has to do with a routine or something that she's set for herself. Let's see. Yes, Suzanne is definitely some of being on the spectrum for sure. It's hard. It's hard when you're like I was actually just talking to Nancy. My dad and his girlfriend Nancy were here yesterday. We got to enjoy their company for a while. And I was just talking to her about the differences between Aaron and I, like in household chores and stuff like that. I have a very like very structured and methodical way of cleaning, organizing, um, keeping things, and I always have. And I was alone for almost 10 years in my home, and designed my whole life right around my structure. Taught Anna that same structure because she grew up in my household with me, and it was just the two of us. And then Aaron comes along, and he is very, very unstructured, to the point where he has a very, very, very difficult time maintaining the structure that I feel like I need. So we're on opposite ends with that. Like his way of cleaning and doing things is very much like he'll start in one place and something will pull him into another room. And next thing I know, he's gone for an hour because he started doing another project in the other room that caught his eye while he was in there. And then at some point while doing that project, he'll leave it half finished to go, oh, I have to go over and throw a little laundry in. And then as he's walking out of the laundry room, he passes the kitchen and remembers that he started in there and he has things to finish. So he goes back to that. And it's just kind of this constant like movement and until everything's caught up. Whereas I am the exact opposite. To my detriment sometimes, where I have a list and I have an order and I have priority and I need to get things done, 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 all the way done. Like I want them done and checked off my list before I can move on to the next thing. And it's just very interesting how different we are in that regard. And it's very difficult for both of us to adopt the other's way because it's just inherently not who we are. I feel very disorganized and stressed when there's clutter and things left out of place. It really stresses me out. And he feels very stressed when he has to constantly be on top of where things belong and getting them back to their home. And, he's being pulled in three different directions. His brain wants to move, not stay still and focus. So, very interesting. Paula, you're Aaron. I was just going to say, how many of you are like Aaron and how many of you are like me? I think that's been honestly one of the most difficult things in our marriage that we've had to figure out um, how to handle that, right? Because we are on such opposite ends of the spectrum with that kind of thing. I think it's definitely required some compromise from both ends because it can no longer be one way or the other. We have to I don't think we necessarily meet somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's that utopian. I don't think it works out quite that well. I think that there's like more of a continual fluctuation towards either end, right? Like sometimes things tend to fluctuate in the house towards his end, and then it kind of gets to a point of contention, and I'm like, "Ah, I can't take it anymore," and then things fluctuate back the other direction, and until maybe he gets overwhelmed with having the structure and the organization, and so it's just kind of this pendulum swing back and forth, and that's the way that we've found a balance in it. Chelsea says, I have a list, but sometimes I'll get distracted by something else not on my list and start doing that, but then I'll remember my list and freak out and start going back to the list. Oh, Krista's like a middle ground, a little bit like Aaron, a little bit like me. Yeah, I think generally by the time you're into your 40s and 50s, you've worked out some sort of system for your household that works for you and or the people in your household, or you've implemented some structure that must be adhered to by all, like with your children. Ooh, I have a question for moms, those of you who were or are or have been mothers. How many of you were the type of moms that said, "Oh, I don't care what their room looks like. It's their room, and if it's a total disaster, it's their problem and they can just shut the door." And how many of you were like, no, that room is in my house and it needs to stay clean. And you're going to clean it regularly because it's a chore and it's your responsibility. Or I suppose there's the third type of mom who went into the room and cleaned it for the children. Ooh, I've got some free spaces here. I had to figure out what to do with these free spaces before I can fill in around them. Hmm. Are they just supposed to stay white? Annie, you close your daughter's bedroom door. Like, nope, out of sight, out of mind. Just gonna pretend it's not a problem. Oh, Leanne, my house, my rules. I did help her clean it. Yeah, I mean, you always have to, because you have to teach them. You can't just be like, you'll figure it out. But eventually, they learn. They learn the ways. I think by the time they're teenagers, it's safe to say, all right, go do what I taught you. I guess I was maybe a little bit of both. I didn't get too on them about it until it got, if it got to the point. My son was always much more neat and tidy than my older daughter. And so especially when she was a teenager, it became a zone, clothing and stuffies and Lord knows what else. So if we get to the point where I'd be like, all right, that's it. You're cleaning it up. But definitely the door stayed closed a lot. Not that anyone else was going through the house to look in there or anything, but just for my own peace of mind. Now, Anna, she has double responsibility because she has a bedroom and a playroom. And Anna's a lot like my son, which I'm sure is a lot of the autism. She's a lot like me and a lot like my boy, and she tends to, for the most part, stay organized with her belongings, or at least she did until more recently. Now it seems like she's getting a little out of hand with her toys, because I've always considered it her responsibility to keep her spaces clean. And of course, I went in and helped her organize. You kind of have to go in like once a month and kind of gut the place and reorganize it and say, okay, it's on you now. But yeah, her playroom here has been an issue, because we'll get it all cleaned up and organized, and then within it seems like within a month's time, she's just mixed things together and stuff is not back where it goes, and she's got everything drug out at the same time. And she never used to be that way, because she went to Montessori school when she was in preschool, and they taught her one thing at a time. You take out one thing at a time and you play with it, and then you put it back before you get out the next thing. And it doesn't mean like one little toy or anything like that. It's like one activity. If you're going to play with the barn and the horses, you pull them out, you play with them. And when you want to move on to the aquatic animals, you put the barn and the horses away and pull out the aquatic animals. But now Anna has started doing this thing where she's like, but they all have to play together. And she has the imagination going, and it just becomes, then it gets to the point where we tell her to clean up, and she says, but there's too much. I can't do it myself. And we're like, well, you should have thought about that before you took it all out. Get to work. So, yeah. Because now you're 8, and you can certainly clean up after yourself at this point. But I do need to go in. It's time to go through her. It's time to go through her playroom again. Get rid of some stuff and reorganize and make it nice and neat for a little while. I should work on that this coming Sunday. Now that we have days off, can you believe that? We never really took days off before. We always be like, well, for the most part we get on, but once in a while, if we're not up to it or something's going on, we'll take the day off. And now we've got delegated days off. It's crazy. Michael says the unicorns need to be back with the rainbows, while Akula looks at the turtleneck sweaters on Amazon. Yeah. My biggest pet peeve, I will say though, with Anna and her spaces, Anna has like a whole wing of the house to herself, right? She has her bedroom, and then outside of her bedroom is her bathroom, and then just down the hall is her playroom. And then, well, Anna's always kind of had most of the house, actually, to be honest with you, because that's not all. That's her wing. But then if you continue down the hallway past the playroom, it dumps out into her play kitchen, which is in the family room space near our real kitchen. And then across the family room from her play kitchen is her school space, which is technically also her space. And of course, I take a lot of responsibility for that space too, because it's my curriculum and I'm teaching her. But ultimately, it's her desk and her space, and she's responsible for that as well. So one of my biggest pet peeves is she will take something out of the playroom and take it into the living room and play with it. And I'm like, "Oh, no, 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 no. It's bad enough you're removing things from their home in the room and putting them all over the place. We are not transporting things from one room to another. That's not happening. That's where I have to put my foot down. Absolutely not. You keep it in that room where it came from, where it belongs. Mm-mm. There was, there have been certain instances where I have given special permission, like when Ella stayed the night. She and Ella pulled out a lot of her Schleich toy sets and kind of set up a whole city out in the living room, and that was fine. It was a special occasion. Annie says, I was scared. I was afraid my daughter was not going to become a clean woman because her room was messy all the time. But she's 31 now and she's organized and clean, thank God. Yeah, I guess it's not necessarily an indicator. As long as you teach them, sometimes they don't implement what you teach them until they're older. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you were paying attention. I thought you were not. Stacy says, when I was little, we were never allowed to bring any toys into the living room. They had to either be in the bedroom or the playroom. Yeah, Stacy, that's pretty much the rules at my house. Because our living room is set up for reading. It's a screenless space. So we either play music in there, or we sit and read books, or we relax and have conversations with people, guests, and each other, or we film. Sometimes we'll take board games in there and play as a family, but it's definitely not a playroom toy space. She has her calming corner in there. She has to keep that clean too. I swear, now that I think about it, Anna owns more of the house than we do. That was the way it was in Ann Arbor too, and it was just the two of us. Might as well just give her the house. Stay contained to the bedroom. All right. See, I'm definitely not feeling these colors. Not the colors that are already on the paper. I like those. I'm talking about the markers that are left that I'm supposed to add in to this. I may have to make some changes. Michael says royalty usually has more land than the villagers. This is true. The peasants, the servants, that's what it is. The royalty has more than the servants. We live in the servants' quarters. Oh dear. Hillary, you have a professional organizer coming on Wednesday to help you organize. Excuse me. I yawned. That's awesome. I feel like that's a job I would enjoy. I do love organizing. I really do. In fact, I just bought a shelf unit, just like one of those easy to assemble kind of like metal garage type shelving units. I bought one for my office because we've had these boxes sitting against the wall over here since we moved in. And I can't even like really get into the things in them. There's some school supplies and some art supplies, and I want access to the art supplies. So I broke down, bought a shelf, and I put that together and organized my art supplies, which is going to be good for ZenZone. But yeah. Sherry, you're coloring a hummingbird? Awesome. That's awesome. I like hummingbirds. Very sweet. I actually don't know a lot about them, to be honest. I don't know a ton about hummingbirds. I feel like there are some people who are like hummingbird aficionados, like everything there is to know about hummingbirds, and they know how to attract the hummingbirds, and they sit and watch and wait for the hummingbirds. It's a cool hobby. Joy, you can't sign up for the community space with your iPhone? How come? What's going on with it? Are you trying to sign up for a subscriber level or just the free level? You feel sorry for them in the winter, Sherry? How come? What happens? I don't know what happens in the winter. Do I want to know? Is it going to make me really sad? Oh, no. Maybe paint for number. Maybe color by number is not for me. 'Cause I'm just like, oh, you want me to put that green there? I don't think so. I'm gonna do this instead. 'Cause that's what I like. Julie, you just woke up. Oh, good night, Krista. Get some rest. Thank you, Tanya. Hmm. Sure, you had a hummingbird got stuck to the building and you had to get it off before it froze. Oh. That's sad. The nectar or sugar water some use in feeders. You know how to attract hummingbirds. Yeah, it's definitely like a specific thing that they like, right? Joy. Joy, you can reach out to Sharon and she can help you, but uh, I'm just curious if you are trying to sign up for the free community space, like at the free level, or if you're talking about, I'm just trying to clarify what exactly you're trying to do. If you're just trying to get into the community, period, or if you're talking about you're trying to upgrade to a subscription level and it's not working. Because if you're trying to upgrade to a subscription level and it's not working, I know exactly what it is. But I just need to clarify that before I bother you with it, with the issue, before I know if I'm right. There is a very well known issue with iPhones specifically, and signing up for subscription levels over there. And I caused the issue because I am not giving Apple 30% of everything you guys gift to us for your memberships. I don't think that that's cool. It's one of the reasons that we were happy to move our subscriptions off of Facebook. Jennifer, like, no, I'm not doing that. No, sorry. I do not agree. I do not accept. It should be like loose guidelines by number, or a general suggestion by number. That's what it should be called. All right, let's see. Got sixes, sevens, sixes. We have sixes. I got to do more sixes. Well, I don't think it's necessarily unfair, Julie. I mean, it is what it is. That's their policy. It's that way with anything that goes through their app store. So any apps that you purchase on their app store, any subscriptions or memberships that you run through their app store, they take 30% of and give the rest to whoever it's going to. And, they're providing a platform on a device that is wildly popular. So it makes sense that they're going to charge something for that because they're processing all of those transactions, and there's fees and overhead and whatnot involved in that process. But 30% is, it's a pretty sizable chunk, especially if it's not necessary. That's the thing. If there were no other way, then okay, I guess I have to deal with it. But we were able to turn it off, so we were not running the subscriptions through Apple. But the result of that is that it causes a hardship when you go to sign up for the subscriptions. If it causes a hardship if you have the app installed, because the app is constantly trying to open up and handle the transaction, but you can't do it within the app because it's turned off. So you have to do it on the web. So you have to like open a web browser like Google Chrome or Safari and do your sign up that way. But the problem is on the iPhone in particular, it just keeps trying to open the app on people. Even if you open Google Chrome, it'll turn around when you click on the button and try to open the app for you. And you're like, no. So the only way to really deal with it that doesn't make you want to pull out your hair is to uninstall the app until you're done signing up. And then once everything's set up, then you can install the app. So it's an interesting little quirk that we've been having to navigate, and it confuses people because they're like, why can't I do what I need to do? Yeah, no, it's definitely it's a good thing that you are able to bypass that at all. You could be totally stuck with it, right? It could be like, this is the only way. Sorry. I'm going with the orange against my better judgment. Orange is not one of my favorite colors. Neither is yellow. But I'm going to trust the process with this one. Hey, Charlotte. How you feeling? I have a lot of badges to give out tonight. I might not make it through all of them in one night. And last I checked, which was a couple of hours ago now, I had like 400 and some odd messages, private messages. So if you're one of the people who private messaged me today, please be patient. It's going to take me probably a number of days, if not well through the weekend, to get caught up on all those messages. I can't even imagine if we had like 10,000 people in the community. This is the level that is 1,000 people. My gosh, if we had 10,000 people, I would probably have like 2,000 private messages. So unfortunately, I just simply cannot sit and respond to everyone. So I kind of have to go through at this point and read and look for things that actually require a response. Sometimes that's just a simple thank you. Other times it's actually writing something up. But there are quite a few that are just people happy to be there and saying hello. I'm glad I made it here. I'm excited. And some of those people, unfortunately, I might have to read your message and mentally thank you and keep moving because I got a big pile to get through. I'm coloring sloppy tonight. Very much not in the lines. I give it a B minus. Not my best work. After just reading a book, I'm already getting on myself. I want to try the calligraphy. I think I might do the calligraphy tomorrow night. I feel like it's going to be really fun. Hey, Michelle. This is so much more enjoyable. Could you imagine, especially with how sloppy I'm coloring, me sitting and doing that whole Japan image? Well, I would be losing it. My anxiety would be through the roof. Cat. I'm in California. And these are white cheddar Cheez-Its. Cat, what are you talking about? Oh, you're talking to Darcy. I'm like, what are you going on about, Cat? You just burst out about white cheddar Cheez-Its. That was funny. Cheez-Its are my kryptonite, my arch nemesis. Cannot have them in my home anymore. They're troublemakers. I haven't had any in a very long time now, but I do love them. Sherry, you went out with your sister today and got home just before your wheelchair died. Oh my goodness, I'm glad you made it home. Does it have, I'm assuming, I think they all do, because Anna's have always had where you can slip them into manual mode, need be. Of course, you don't want to have to do that. But you can usually put the power chairs into manual mode so that someone can push you if they have to. Yes, Charlotte. That's what I really love about them. The bright, vibrant colors. I love it. Very much love it. All right. I was going to do this, but I'm not. I'm not going to do this. I'm changing my mind. That reminds me, speaking of wheelchairs, that Anna's wheelchair needs to be charged. I am so sorry, you guys. I'm just bombarding you with yawns tonight. Anna's wheelchair needs to be pulled out of the van and charged. It's been in there for a couple of weeks. So, thank you for the reminder, Sherry. Kat says you missed our whole conversation about Cheez-Its. Apparently I did. That's amazing. See, this is the medicine I'm on. I don't pay attention to food anymore. Not even food conversations. Didn't even notice it. Michael. Michael, stop it. I can't. You're going to get yourself another badge. You keep it up. You're going to get a bad joke badge. Fun fact, I don't know if you heard me talk about this before, but I performed my floor routines in high school to Yanni. Good night, Mary. actually very much enjoy his music. Wow, is that it? Done already? That's quick and easy. That feels like almost feels like a little kid coloring book. Might be. And that is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, I did say I wanted to keep it to an hour and a half tonight, and look at that. It's been 1 hour, 35 minutes, and 52 seconds. Doesn't get much better than that. And nobody wants to sit here and listen to me yawn for another hour. So I'm going to call it. I'm going to go. I'm going to go put on my fairy costume and dole out some badges. All these new hundreds of new folks on the community. And yeah, tomorrow I think we'll try some calligraphy. That's what I'm saying now. We'll see what tomorrow brings. It's a badge fairy coloring book. Yes, it very much looks like a badge fairy coloring book. Absolutely. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, Linda. Good night to you. So I'll see you guys. See you guys in the community. I just love this. I feel like we all are living Sharon's dream, which is like to get this big plot of land and put up a bunch of tiny houses. That's what we're doing. That's what we have now. We're like a giant commune. Tiny houses on acres and acres of land, and we just walk outside and see each other. And, hello, Michael. Hello, Susan. Good night, Debbie. Good night, Michelle. Good night, John Boy. Good night, you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.